Hi, and welcome to 108 Healing Senses podcast. Just making sure that was live. My name is Jennifer Taylor. Welcome. This is my beautiful friend Olubunmi.
Hello, how are you?
Got a second. Oh gosh. Now YouTube's up. Please introduce yourself, Mummy. You are a very good friend, and we did podcast the other week as well on your channel. Was it your sober sweet spot? So just here
Your
on the
sober
panel.
sweet spot. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
be sure to go subscribe and follow Bummy there. And so today it was great to invite you on. Would you be able to give a little intro about kind of who you are, your background, and what you're feeling quite passionate about delivering kind of to the world, I suppose, especially during these times?
Yeah. It's been a bit of a windy road, actually, Jennifer, and thanks for having me on your show. I'm really excited. This is nice because it's free flow. Just have a conversation. It's great. So I'm Olubunmi Aboaba, and I am now, I actually don't want to kind of label myself. I've got to that point where I'm just finding it difficult to label me because I'm I do lots of different things, but it's all kind of boils to one thing. I specialize in energy alignment, specifically with addiction and clients with addiction. And that could be alcohol, could be drugs, could be burnout, because that's a work addiction. Sugar as well. That's a big one. And this is from my own kind of lived experience. So I'm just going to just keep it as brief as I possibly can. But I'm in the medical profession, and sort of probably about 20 years ago, I just struggled. I really, really struggled for decades before that with alcohol. That was my main drug of choice. I was dependent on it. It was my best friend from when I was quite young. I discovered it when I was 12, and all of a sudden the lights lit up and I thought I could be myself. I was a very shy person, very shy young girl, very shy right the way through school. I always felt like I was a square peg in a round hole, never fitted in, kind of misaligned with people. People didn't understand me. And so turning to alcohol at a young age actually helped me, not because I enjoyed the taste of it, because it just made me feel this is who I could be, and feel congruent with the world, not necessarily with myself, but I could have this mask of confidence, etc. And it all just started with like a little drink of Cinzano Bianco one Christmas. My family aren't big drinkers at all, and we drink on special occasions. And my mum at the age of 12 offered me a little bit of Cinzano Bianco at the Christmas dinner, and that was it. I just knew instantly, this is going to be my best friend. This is my medicine. This is what's going to make me feel really great. And that carried on through for many, many years. I suppose the wheels started to come off, basically. The wheels started to come off over the years. There was consequences. And at the end, it was a car crash. There was, relationships breaking up. I was married at the time, had young children, and I ended up in 7 rehabs in 7 years. I couldn't understand. I was trying to do everything possible, following programs, being in fellowships, doing everything I possibly could to keep myself well. I said, I'll never do this again. I'll never drink again. And I kept doing it. And on this exit of the 7th rehab in 7 years, I remember standing on a doorstep. It was in central London, watching the world go by. It was like International Women's Day, actually. 2008, and just thinking, there's just got to be a better way. There's just got to be a better way for me. I've tried everything, and I could have, in a funny sort of way, that was an intention set. I didn't know what, but it was just like, there's got to be a different way, a different approach. And within a couple of weeks, I bumped into a friend. We were chatting, and I was just saying to her how I'm frightened. I'm doing everything I can that I've been told to do. I'm doing everything possible to not drink. But I'm scared because I've done it for so many times. I've been not drinking for 3 months, 6 months, a year, and it starts again. And I said, there's just no guarantee, there's no certainty. I feel scared. You know, I was going through the divorce. This is all the yets were coming, going through divorce. You know, everything. My career was on hold. It was just an absolute nightmare. Drink drive case as well coming up. So all the yets were coming to me. And I just said to my friend, I said, I actually really don't know what to do. I've seen my doctor. He told me to go on antidepressants. Didn't want to go on antidepressants because I knew that I was going to stay on them, be addicted to them. So I just knew intuitively no. So she asked me, and she said, have you ever seen a shaman? And I said, well, what the hell's a shaman? I didn't have a clue. You know, from the medical profession, it's all allopathic. It's all, you know, fix me, fix this, you know, fix that, symptoms. And she said, no, just go and see this lovely lady who, she just passed away actually. So we're good friends. And so I said, yeah, okay, I'll go. And I just kept an open mind, and I didn't know what she did on me. She just told me to lie down on the couch. She asked me how I was feeling, and she did all these things on me, and I could smell incense and feathers kind of wafting over me and everything else. And I was just lying there thinking, what the hell's she doing? and then, you know, I got up, and she'd had crystals on me, and she told me to do a few little things, you know, when I get home, but, you know, to let her know how I felt. And I honestly felt a shift. And I just felt it was just a perceptible, very small shift, it was like a little glimmer of something. So I went back to her a few more times, and I just knew, and I can't remember how many sessions, about 4 sessions, I knew I was going to be okay. I'd never had that before. I'd never had that feeling coming out of all the rehabs. I'd never had that knowing, that certainty, that trust that I was going to be fine. And everything was kicking off. I'm not saying everything was kicking off. Divorce proceedings were kicking off. You know, the drink drive court case. You know, I was not working at the time. So, you know, professionally, I was kind of, you know, I wasn't working, and, you know, it was just absolutely, you know, all these things happening around me. But it was almost though there was a space between me and what was happening around me. And I just knew I was going to be fine. I thought, no matter what, I'm going to be okay. You know, and that wasn't kind of something that I willed myself into saying. It was just, I'm going to be all right. I'm going to be fine. And then I started to think, what is this all about? Why am I feeling how I'm feeling? But there's chaos around me. So I kept talking to Anna and asking her. I just said, what is all this about? That's when I got really curious about the holistic side, the ancient methods, the ancient, I call it ancient technology, you know, and, you know, crystals and Reiki and everything else. So I got greedy for all of it, and I said, I need to kind of specialize, not even specialize, just, I want to just do it, go to workshops, you know, got to Reiki master level, did my crystal advanced, did everything, just NLP, it was from 2008 to about 2013, 14, I was, whoa, yeah, getting into it. And I just kept feeling better and better and better. And it wasn't even a case of life was perfect. It was far from perfect, because, you know, I had to build my life again. You know, I had to find another house, you know, have the children, you know, bring up 2 small boys. I was on my own at the time. I was, you know, a single parent, rebuilding, you know, all the damage I'd caused, all the consequences, having to deal with all that, all the broken relationships, you know, people wouldn't speak to me anymore, and all of that. It was tough, but I knew I was going to be all right. And so I just kept working on kind of the holistic side of me, and that's when I got really, really excited. And within my profession, I just knew I wanted to move and help people have this same, you know, try and guide them to have the same experience that I had. You know, which was having that, being able to cultivate certainty and trust in yourself. And then that started to go towards connecting with me. And so over the years, I just felt it just got better and better and better. But there was one particular day when I went home. I went to my parents' house, and they have loads and loads of pictures on their mantelpiece. And there was one picture that I hadn't seen. And I said, "Who's that?" And he said, "It's your great grandfather." And I said, "Well, I've never seen that picture before." He said, "Well, I've just found it in a loft, my dad." And he said, "I've plonked it on there. There's like hundreds of pictures." So he told me the story about my great grandfather. So we're from Nigeria, and my dad's from a little village called Abeokuta. And my great grandfather was enslaved. That was back in the 1800s. And he was taken to America. I think it was North Carolina. I have this feeling it was North Carolina, but I want to find out more. This is what's amazing. And this was like, yeah, it was like a real aha epiphany. He found his way back to Abeokuta. Unbelievable. He actually found his way. I think it must have been the end of slavery, or he escaped. I'm not sure, but he made his all the way back in North Carolina or wherever he was. He started to trade in cattle. He started to learn about cattle, herding cattle. So when he kind of got back to Africa, and it started in Liberia, Sierra Leone, he started to herd cattle all the way back to Nigeria, all the way over the West Coast. Back to Nigeria, back to Abeokuta, back to family. He remembered his name, and he raised a family. And I cried. I just cried, and it was almost like something just went through me, and it was like, I've arrived home. You know, I feel like I've come complete circle.
Yeah,
you know, this man who's gone through the most horrific, traumatic experiences, had the resilience and the faith and the hope to find his way back home. And it's like I'd returned home. It was almost like he was telling me that you are home. Well, I saw that picture. And it was interesting because after that, when I had healings with a very good friend of mine, Penny, she saw him. So he was there, and I think it was like an acknowledgement that, you know, what I'd felt and what I'd experienced, it was just this real cloak of, you know, this man saying, yeah, you are home. And that was it for me. It was just an unbelievable moment.
Yeah.
And that's when I thought, I'm going to really be of service wherever I can. And it was about reconnecting with self. You know, it wasn't about stopping drinking. You know, it was about getting to know who I was, who I am, you know, and who I'm becoming, reconnecting all those parts of myself that were scattered. And so that was like ancestral healing. You know, I went through that with a friend of mine, to really start reconnecting more with my traditions, with family, and, you know, my roots. And so it was and it still is, it's just a fantastic journey of just getting deeper and deeper and deeper into who you are and getting to know who you are. Because when you got to that point, you know, you feel kind of a bit, what's the word? It's a bit unstoppable, really. You know, you're not scattered. I don't feel scattered now, you know. Yeah. I'm not influenced too much by what other people think, or other people's stories, or trying to live other people's stories, or thinking I'm not good enough and maybe I should be like them, or maybe I should act like her. It's all disappearing. It's all disappearing. It's almost like an illusion.
The comparison dissolves. Yeah. Competition dissolves. I've had very similar experience, just how that the healing process was really the process of me getting to know me and understanding what are my own thoughts and what are the words or echoes of others, you know, whether it's this from childhood or from ancestors having the same programming, or past lives having the same programming. It's
whose story is it?
Yeah, whose is it?
The culmination of stories.
Yeah.
And it's taken, and it's going to be a never-ending thing. It's a journey, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a journey. It's a shedding of the old and what's not yours, outworn habits. That starts to then you become more aware of them, then you can change them. And I honestly really do believe with anything that's an energetic disruption. So when we're talking about addiction, they think it's a very physical thing and a mental thing, but I think before any of that, and I do believe before any of that, it's an energetic disruption in our energy field. And that when we become, because I know I tried everything for years and years and years and decades and nothing helped, but as soon as my energy became coherent, as much as it could be, that's when things started to work. That's when mindset started to change. That's when I could adopt better habits, better routines, not be flung off path easily, be able to create boundaries, energetic boundaries, understanding that energy is so much like, how you talk to yourself, your thoughts, you feel, that's all energy. What you put out there is energy. What you concentrate on is energy. Did
you ever have any mantras or a sets of words that you found yourself repeating at different times on your path to kind of help you through? Did you have any? I know I had a few.
Well, it's like, first of all, it was I love myself. The first thing I learned to do was look in the mirror properly, look at myself and just say, I love you, and there was tears, before. It was so difficult at first to actually look at myself because I didn't feel worthy. I didn't feel deserving of love. I didn't feel deserving of my own love. So when, I was asked to just simply every morning, no makeup on, look at yourself in the mirror and say, I love you. That was the first thing. I love you, and, I deserve love. I deserve love. So that was me for a lot of the time. And then I'm worthy. And then the mantras came. But I started to instead ask questions. So I kind of flipped it on its head with the mantras, like, why am I so worthy? Why am I so deserving? Why have I, got the most beautiful life? It was almost like inviting that through the energy, through kind of universal energy, life force. So I kind of play with it. I would get, and that's one thing about, I think with energy work, you become very curious, don't you?
Yeah.
You become curious.
It's all of the spaces in between. And I don't know if you had this as well. And I've always loved science as well. I came from a science background. And I don't know why. Maybe it's just part of the journey. I don't know if you had this too. I had this kind of insatiable, I suppose you did, because you said like you went on this insatiable quest to kind of learn and I suppose remember all of these healing techniques that we would have done in other times, other lifetimes. And I had that for such a time, and I was looking for all of the answers external to me for quite some time, and then there came the real breaking point for me, and then everything was just stripped completely back, and I was just left with myself and source. And that was where this like real inner knowingness and connection and in love was formed between myself and source, like reconnecting back in, because I chose that love for myself, like that I am worthy and deserving to experience love. That was one of mine, and I would say that often. daily.
Yeah,
Especially in the times when I didn't feel it. But it's that
yeah,
thing of whatever you're
exactly.
feeling a lack of, you have to be the remedy of what you want. Otherwise, you'll just keep reliving it on loop, and no one deserves that.
No, and also being able to trust yourself to find those answers,
Yeah.
and knowing that that life force, whatever you want to call the life force, infinite source, creator, God, that, you know, building that relationship with that higher power, that, I mean, I call mine the creator, you know, and building that it's me and the creator. Because, you know, the creator is light, and being able to, yeah, chat to my creator, chat to God, to be able to just, you know, when I come, before I came on here, I, you know, I kind of, you know, brought my creator in and said, you know, can you, it might not be the best, I might talk rubbish, I don't know, but can you help guide me? And that's it. That's what I do quite a lot of the time. Because that creation, that you know, relationship is getting stronger and stronger, and that's when I know myself more. I know how to, you know, guide myself. The integrity, you know, comes. The self-worth comes. The not having to feel hanging on like everybody's word,
Yeah.
and having to take their word for it. You know, whatever somebody says, you know, you have to believe, anything like that. It's a case of having that kind of agency, that self-sovereignty. What feels good for you? What feels right?
Yeah.
What can you tune in with that resonates? I think that's the word, resonates.
Yeah.
With you. What feels true? What doesn't feel true? And a lot of that is starting to improve with me. What does feel true? What doesn't feel true? And I think what's happening a lot in the world at the moment, and again, this is all divinely, you know, this is all, you know, I've talked about this a lot. You know, this is not an accident, you know, what's happening at the moment. And I try and view it as though this is a divine design. I know we've got the chaos, but from the chaos will come the breakthrough and the oneness, and I truly do believe that the collective consciousness will be going that way, is going that way. We see an awful lot of stuff going on out there, and I tell people, look, just to always remember, there's always this. It's only bad things that are broadcasted, not good stuff. And there's this absolute undercurrent of beautiful, soulful people who are coming together with a collective loving consciousness.
Yeah.
You know, because this energy can't exist for much longer. When I'm talking about much longer, I'm not talking about tomorrow, but I'm talking about, you know, over the next period of years. This is going to dissolve because it is just love. It only is love. That is it. And people start to look at each other like, we're all the same. We're all trying to do the very best we can.
We've all forgotten that ultimately we're brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
We just have different family names. So I do truly believe that when everyone finds themselves within themselves and stops projecting their wounds externally or blaming others incessantly, and staying in that victim consciousness, until that point, there will still be this flux of unrest because people are uneasy within themselves. And when we cultivate that inner peace by doing what we love, by celebrating the great things in life, to come together and bring in pure intentions for when sad things do happen, but to always channel in the highest, purest of love and light, source light.
Yeah,
At all times. And at that point, it's that, you know, you're giving it to source. You're giving it to love, to say, we've come together, our hearts are pure, we're synchronizing, because that's the same unit of intention that we're aiming for. And we open our arms to our ethereal brothers and sisters to say, please help, please assist as well, because we can't do all of this by ourselves. But we have to meet each
Exactly.
other halfway, and that's for everything. And that's how we pull.
This is.
If someone's on the floor and they are holding their hand out, pull them up. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, there's some people that are ready to come. They're like you had that breakthrough, saying this is enough. There must be a different way. I had a very similar conversation with myself, and it was like this surge of energy that kind of came in and just snaps reality into a completely different direction.
Yeah.
It does kind of pull the rug from beneath you, but it does allow this whole new painting or this experience.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You painting.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And the things that are torn away from us, as much as it can be painful and shocking in the moment, but just like you said, you could have the inner whisper to say, actually, everything's going to be okay, and just keep trusting that. And keep doing everything you can to just do, how can I be the best version of myself in this moment? Even if it's looking after myself, I'm going to have a bubble bath. I'm going to do.
It's just the little things. Yeah. But it is building certainty in yourself, and that is, for me, it's come through, I suppose, the routine of, I think, stillness. You know, practicing stillness, which was not something that came natural to me. I was never still. I was always doing. And over the years, and it's not something like I'm going to practice stillness. It just came to me that when I am still, when I'm not on your phone, not distracted, not doing anything, just sitting still by yourself, that's when ideas pop in. That's when answers come. That's when a soothing voice comes, you know, and that's when we can allow to hear and feel these things.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're constantly on the go, you know, in our 21st century mad lifestyle, we've disconnected.
It's hard to hear the whispers when you're rushing.
Even
on rushing on caffeine.
Yeah, just rushing on. I mean, we are at the moment, we've just got this cocktail of dopamine depleting activities and stress, and we are so disconnected as a whole, you know, from ourselves. You got the phone, you've got, you know, certain foods, just the whole burnout, the whole shebang. We are so disconnected, and it's literally killing us, you know, causing massive mental health issues, anxiety, depression, addiction. It's just a cacophony of everything that's happening, and it's all because we are disconnected. And that's what I talk about an awful lot with addiction, is a disconnection. You know, when you're whole, when you're well, you're connected to yourself, and then connected to the whole.
Yeah. And it is a oneness. It is that, though, at least that's how it feels to me. It's like this completeness. And it's, I feel it. I feel it. I had an experience. Did I mention this to you last time? I had a past life experience way back when I had my breakdown, and it was like my soul reminding me exactly what I needed to feel in that moment. And it was, I had the experience of the life, went from kind of start to end. And then as I was returning, my spirit was returning back into source. It was like this pink, orange, yellow, golden, marshmallowy, dreamy, cloud-like feeling of pure bliss, pure love, pure ecstasy. Like it was almost like orgasm energy, continuous. So, and I was like, wow, this just absolute feeling so much love. I was like, oh, this is
I've
this is
had that.
where I'm from. This is what I've been seeking. This is the feeling that I'm so desperately needed to feel again. And that journey of being reminded this is not only one life. There have been many before, there will be many after.
Absolutely.
And just being able to touch that feeling of what love was so profound in that moment that it really catapulted me into like just learning as much information as possible about spirituality. Did lead me down some dark paths as well, because not all spiritual souls are light. They might have light aspects but still have unhealed shadows. So I did come across that. To be honest, everyone has that, but you know, we're all at different points in our journeys, and we all have mirrors that allow us to see what do we have within ourselves, what we are capable of.
Yeah.
But also, we don't need to unleash it. We know that we have it in case we do need it. So that is almost like this universal of inner harmony, balance required at all times. You can be a kind, graceful, courageous warrior, and you can have all, you know, you have all of the aspects. You can have that softness, and you can have that you're not just no.
Yeah, love it. I remember we talking about that kind of the golden light and the warmth, and you're coming out into source and into your body. And I had a very similar experience, and it was just doing the mantra to Ganesh. So I had my rosary beads, and I think I was just saying it. I just went into an absolute kind of little trance when I was saying it, and I was just repeating it and repeating and repeating it. And then I just had this glow, this real glow around me, and it was just this real. And I get that from time to time, but this was really, really powerful, and I just knew, whoa! And you just want to sit in it, don't you? And it feels so good. Feels so good. And then the rest of that day was just magical. It just, you know, and probably nothing's changed out, you know, for what people can see, but I just saw everything as absolutely magical. And, you know, people were lovely, and synchronicities, and wow, that was good. That was good. So, you know, the universe is there to weave its magic every day. You know.
That your experience definitely sounds like what it's like when that's like a kind of 5D and above experience. Might even be above that, because I've had those moments when I'm like, this feels like the perfect day, and it's just mundane. It's just mundane, but but I have that same, like, my heart feels like it's just absolutely shining like a lighthouse. I'm like, everything feels, but the same light is bounced, like, reflected back to me, which is always a beautiful
But it's true, isn't it? You know, when you get yourself into that kind of vibe, you just feel, you know, and it could be, you know, the most yucky thing might happen, you know, during your day, or somebody's rude to you or something like that when you're walking down this, you know, into the shop, they've bumped into you, whatever. But it doesn't matter. It's like, you know, that's your experience, you know, and it's weird, isn't it? It's just like, things just bounce off you more. You feel more protected and more.
Yeah. Building your inner self-esteem, your inner self-worth, which are the non-woo terms, but that healthy boundaries, that real knowingness of yourself, you're not letting anyone's external projections impose their will upon you as to how you think that you are based on someone else's observations or distortions or projections, which happens as well. So it's a very powerful thing to practice, having good self-esteem, being assertive, not being passive, like asking for what you actually need, and not being afraid of people saying no or disliking it. This takes practice.
It takes practice.
A people pleaser, Yes.
Oh, been there.
Gets
But it
easier.
takes awareness. It's awareness first, isn't it? It's awareness, you
Yeah.
know, and what's taking you back down those paths that aren't serving you, and being very kind to yourself, you know, very compassionate, and just
Yeah.
taking it step by step by step. But for me, it was the boundaries, because, as you said, I was a massive people pleaser, you know, and that's why I would burn out. That's why I would drink. That's why, because I just thought I wasn't good enough. So I had to people please her. How high can you jump, Bummy? Oh, I can jump this high, you know, even to my own detriment, you know, always overextending, and being able to learn to say no, or this is not what I want to do, or I don't agree with this. These are the things that I found difficult to say, because I wanted everyone to be my friend, you know. I didn't want to be disliked. So that was what really moved me away from me, was I wasn't really connected to myself to be able to be strong enough to honor me.
Yeah.
So, but it took a little bit of time to just be patient and get curious and practice, and, you know, being able to say to people, no, I'm busy, no, I can't do it. You know, no. It's a powerful word.
I love no. I love yes, but I really love no.
No. I do more no's than yeses now.
Yes, it's a space creation word. You have more space in your life when you say no more, but when you say yes to the right things at the right time, certainly is a discernment thing. But yeah, tuning into yourself and how am
Tuning
I feeling
in.
about this situation? Does it fill me with
Yeah.
dread and doubt, or feeling drained at the thought of it, or is it filling
Yeah.
me with excitement and optimism and
Mhm.
sparkly openness to receive more?
Yeah.
That's always a great sign.
And allowing yourself to kind of sleep on stuff, you
Yeah,
know.
absolutely.
We live in such a reactive society, you know, we're just impulse driven. You know, our brains are just fight, flight, freeze,
Fawn.
you know, because of just everything that we're immersed in, and to be able to kind of get that back and get your emotional regulation back under control, and all of that is again, it starts off with awareness, and start being compassionate with yourself, and step by step, simple, you know, giving yourself a hug, you know, just all those things are just so important. That self-care, you know, living in this kind of operating system where it's all results driven, you know, deadlines and this and that, and have you achieved that, and have you done this, and I feel like an imposter. It's just getting back to forgetting all about that, and getting back to the self-care, and treating yourself with oodles of love.
And respect and honor.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, and when you set the
It really
stage for
is.
yourself, you set the stage for everyone else, 'cause like, well, my bar is already here for myself, so you don't raise
My
the
bar
bar,
is
you're not
high.
coming in. Like being your own
Oh,
bouncer. Yeah, as well as being your own
the
PA and, being your own spa therapist, and yeah, you could be a lot to yourself, and then
You
when you
could
hold that,
indeed.
again, you create the space for someone else to also
Yeah.
match you and find your bar.
Yeah. But I
Mm.
think I just think it's very important for anyone that's listening. Um, you know, start with the simple stuff as well. When we talk about reconnecting with ourselves, it's like, you know, for me, it's the basics. Like, are you eating properly? Are you sleeping properly? You know, you're sleeping. Are you giving yourself that time where you're kind of walking in nature? You know, again, as you said, you know, your bubble baths, the self-care. You know, are you taking time? Are you reconnecting with, because people have become a bit isolated as well. So connecting with like-minded people who lift you up. You know, you can, you know, go out and have a coffee with, you know, have your lovely high vibe team, you know, to support you and vice versa. You know, you've got a little support circle and a really lovely friend circle, and really be kind of selective with who your friends are as well. And especially when you're going through, you know, an awful lot, it's getting all that groundwork, you know, in place, all the simple stuff that we forget. You know, I always find it fascinating when we talk about mental health an awful lot. You know, it's but we never talk about what you're eating, because that affects your mental health.
Yeah.
You know, my mental health is poor. Well, I was, first of all, and they're all shocked. So what are you eating? Just tell me what your diet is. Tell me what you're doing. Give me an idea of what your food is. You know, and I would say 7 out of 10 times, once we've got the food sorted, the calmness starts to come. The anxiety starts to lift. The panic start to go. And then we can work on the rest.
Yeah.
You know,
there's one supplement I would highly recommend everyone find the best supply possible of magnesium.
oh yes, absolutely.
It
Oh,
helps you sleep. I remember having it when I was really in the midst of it, and I remember having 1 or 2 tablets. It was Clive de Carle's magnesium. Fantastic. It was like a blend, and it's the best one I've had to date. And I had the best sleep. It's particularly obvious how much you're lacking in it if you have really high effects with a small dosage. So I know that the nutrition part is so critical, actually, for just helping your body regenerate and your mind
100%.
recuperate.
Totally. Because when you're eating like ultra processed foods, which are high in fat, sugars, and salts, you're just setting off a dopamine surge all the time. You know, we are, as I said, I've talked about a dopamine depleted society, and that's why we need more and more of it. We need more and more food. We need to, you know, get on our phones more, because we've got the dopamine addiction, that notification driven world. It's so be mindful of all those things, you know, to kind of really dial them down, you know, make that effort bit by bit, so that you can start to feel a little bit normal, you know. And it is, the ultra processed foods are linked to panic attacks, they're linked to anxiety and depression, you know, fatigue. You know, if you're going through menopause, it makes insomnia worse and night sweats worse, and all of that, and it's linked to Alzheimer's, dementia, you know, so many factors. So that's why I say you cannot underestimate the value of a good diet and plenty of water.
Yes. Yeah. Mineralized if possible. Because everyone's really dehydrated because they don't have any minerals to take the water in. So if you drink, one more tip before we close shortly is a little crystal of Celtic sea salt with filtered pure water. You could put it under your tongue or just in the water, and that's a really great way to remineralize. You'll barely taste it.
Just a little bit, a little pinch.
Just 1 granule. You can even start really, really tiny. It obviously depends what kind of blood pressure things you have, but just small. Everyone needs minerals. It won't do any harm. And if you feel really thirsty, just drink some more water and it'll flush out. So
yay. Brilliant. Sounds great. So I just want to kind of just say to everyone that's listening, if you're kind of stressed and, you know, with what's going on everywhere, just really start looking at coming home to self. That's what I call it, coming home to self, and start taking, you know, step-by-step action on that in a kind of loving, gentle way. Lots of stillness, lots of time to yourself. Even, you know, I think is really great, it's just being a kid again and getting a colouring book out. Just colouring and just going back to that childlike building puzzles, jigsaw, just everything to kind of just get your system, quieten down your system.
Yeah. Find your play again. I think
100%.
Yeah, I think that's another beautiful way of just transforming your world, transforming life, transforming your creativity and your inspiration and everything, being able to process emotions through the colouring. I've done that plenty times. Watercolours, beautiful. Pen,
Be creative.
Yeah, it's they are small things, but you do them, and you do them when you feel for them, and it really does start to transform your world.
It does. It does.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on. It's been such a pleasure again.
Thank you, darling. Thank you. It's been a pleasure too. Absolute pleasure.
So you have your podcast, which everyone should definitely go over after the video finishes, for the your Sober Sweet Spot, and you're on all the major channels now, aren't you?
Like I am, and it's about recovering. It's not necessarily recovery about addiction. It could be about anxiety, social anxiety, mental health, but it's about getting you into a good place, and all the things that can keep you feeling alive and joyful. All the little methods you can think about that, this might be a good method to help me on my way. So I talk to a lot of different experts, like Anne, Future Life Progression, finding your future self, so we have some real fun times on your Sober Sweet Spot. So head over.
Brilliant. And how can people find you? And do you have any upcoming events you'd like to let the audience know about? Or ways to work?
I'm kind of in the moment, I'm pivoting into something else completely, and it's a kind of it's doing a lot of retreat work, but that's starting next year, so I can fill you in closer to the time. But people can find me at Olubunmi at drolubunmi.com. drolubunmi.com, and your Sober Sweet Spot, and I'm sure you'll put the links on there. I'm on LinkedIn as well.
Super, lovely. And for anyone that would like to do one-to-one with me, I will be starting. I've already been sculpting out the new kind of membership, but if you're interested at doing a little bit of a membership with me, learning some information, whether it be kind of spiritual healing, and then on the business and creative side, like, let me know, comment below if you think that's something that you would be interested in coming to, and I'll put it on and run. You can get me on 108 Healing Senses on all the social media platforms, and also 108healingsenses.com with my services there. So, but be sure to subscribe to the channel, give it a like, give it a comment. Look, what did you get most from this episode, and what will you take away in action? So use these episodes as opportunities as to have a sort of semi-coaching session with myself and my guests. And what will you be taking with you forwards to help you transform your life? This is now the space of accountability. So we're doing like mini group session now. I think this is a good way forward. It's accountability. If you want to transform, you have to take action. You can't just sit and consume. So I hand it over to you.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you so much. I look forward to we'll podcast again. We'll figure out some more dates. We'll do another yours and mine. That's fun. Nice.
Yeah, I'd love that. All right, then. Take care.
Take care. Thank you for everyone for watching, and see you next Wednesday for another delicious speaker of wisdom and gems. So thank you so much, and be sure to follow and subscribe everyone that comes on. So lots of love for now, and see you soon.
Bye.